Hey guys, it's Joe from American Trucks, and today we're going to be taking a closer look at the Coyote 1.5-inch billet aluminum Hubcentric 6-lug wheel spacers fitting all 15 and newer F150s. Now these are going to be a great option for you if you're looking for a quality spacer to add some aggressive offset to your F150. So right off the bat in our video here, I did just want to address how hotly controversial wheel spacers are on any truck in general and any wheel spacer out there. If you take a look at the forums, you'll see a lot of arguments going back and forth on whether or not these are worth it. Some people say these are going to add some extra stress to your suspension components. That's just not there as far as the looks go. I'm gonna leave that one up to you guys. If you're looking for a high quality wheel spacer, these are definitely what you want. We're gonna go into more about that in just a second here. However, I'm gonna give you what I know about these. I'm gonna tell you the truth and exactly what these will do for you once installed on your F-150. So what do we have going on here with the Coyote 1.5-inch? Well, first off, these are made out of 6061 aluminum, which is some great stuff. Extremely durable, especially over some of the competitors out there. Again, we'll touch on that in just a second here. You got that black anodized coating, which is going to be great to resist corrosion. And another great feature about these is they're designed to be hub-centric. Now, what that means is this is an 87mm bore hole right here in the middle. That's going to be a perfect matchup for the F-150, and it's going to distribute the weight all the way 360 degrees along these holes in the middle. Now, conversely, what we'll deem eBay spacers for now, they're usually lug-centric, they're a little bit more universal, but what that does is it distributes the weight on the lug nuts themselves. A little bit less durable, however, again, a little bit more universal. Something like this, if you own an F-150, you want hub-centric, you want billet aluminum, that's gonna be a huge upgrade over those eBay spacers, which is usually cast as well, and that's just simply not as durable as billet aluminum. So as far as build quality and design goes, these are gonna be a great option for you. So let's get into some numbers here, and the math isn't as hard as you might think. All in all, these are gonna be 1.5 inches thick for the metric guys out there. That equates to about 38.1 millimeters, and basically all this is gonna do is push the wheel out of the wheel well 38.1 millimeters, just like some additional negative offset might. Now, that's gonna give you some huge benefits. The first one, and the most obvious one, is gonna come in the looks department. You're gonna get that nice flush stance on your truck, which is so popular with the F-150 community, and compared to stock, it's gonna be a huge improvement. But that wider track width is gonna give you a couple other ones as well. That's gonna be great when you're off-roading, and it's also going to improve the handling too. There is a trade-off for that. With that extra leverage on there, you are going to be stressing your suspension components a little bit more. Now, there are tons of articles about that out there on the internet that I'll leave for you to peruse through, but basically, just apply your common sense to it. If your Coyote is supercharged, you're putting down 700 horsepower, be careful, you know the limits of your truck. If you plan on towing 13,000 pounds with your F-150, again, be careful. Know the limits of your truck and know that these are going to add a little bit more stress on the suspension of your F-150. So before we get into the price here, just a couple numbers for you guys out there that might need it. Bolt pattern, gonna be specific for the F-150, 6x135. Thread pitch on here, again, same as our F-150, 14x15, and the bore in the middle is 87 millimeters. So pricing for these, we're looking at about 280 bucks, and I have a pair in front of me right now, but that $280 price point, that is for all 4 corners. So at that, you'll be getting 4 spacers just like these two right in front of me here. Factoring in build quality, that is gonna be one heck of a deal. These are pretty much gonna be the top of the line. If you don't believe me, take it from our customers. Check out the website. These have really good reviews on them, as well as some customer picks out there, so you can see what these look like with some different wheel and tire combinations on different year F-150s. So before we jump into the install here, a couple things I did want to touch on. Once you get these installed, drive for 500 miles, come back, make sure the torque is still good to go. And also, our F-150 studs are a little bit too long. They're gonna stick out a little bit beyond the face of these spacers. So That's not gonna be a problem with the stock wheels. They have cutouts on the back that accommodate for those perfectly. However, I can't speak for all aftermarket wheels out there. A lot of them are probably in the same boat. However, there are also some aftermarket wheels out there that probably have a flat surface on the back. If you're in that boat, you're gonna be breaking out the cutoff wheel here and you're gonna be trimming the tips off your studs. You wanna check and make sure which category you're in before you get these installed on your truck. Now, with all of that out of the way, the install for these is going to be really easy. We're looking at a 1 out of 3 here, definitely. Should take you at most 30, 45 minutes to get all 4 corners installed. So without any further ado, let me show you what tools you might need and how it's done. For this install, you'll need a torque wrench, impact, and 19mm socket. Now you're also gonna need a way to get your factory wheels off, and for that, you'll need a 21mm socket, and not pictured here will be the floor jack. So the install for something like this is going to be really, really easy. However, there can be a few questions that arise. Right off the bat here, we're gonna start off with the basics. So you wanna make sure your truck is jacked up safely, and on top of that, you wanna take your wheel off. You also wanna make sure this hub surface here is nice and clean so our spacer can sit flush against it. Now, after that, all we're gonna do is drop this on around our studs. Now, once we have it on in that position, all I'm gonna do is take the 19mm socket and a couple of the lug nuts included in the kit, and I'm just gonna use that to get it started on the studs attached to our hub. Now, the thread pitch on these two are the same. So on the spacer, we have 14x15. On our F150, we have 14x15. So I'm just gonna use the lug nuts in the kit to tighten the spacer to the hub. And like I said earlier, this thing is hub-centric, so alignment is important when it comes to things like this, but you can see it pretty much dials itself in, even with only a few lug nuts off of it. It is right where it needs to be, and the conical shape on these lugs are just gonna pull it into place when we tighten them down. So next up, I'm just gonna put our socket on the end of the impact gun. Now, I know you shouldn't do this, chrome socket on the end of the impact gun, but there are a lot of threads to take up here, and the holes for the lugs are really small, and only the thin wall chrome socket will fit. So all I'm gonna do, end of the impact gun, I'm just gonna run these down snug. I'm not even gonna impact them into place, and then we'll break up a torque wrench and make sure these are up to spec. And like always, you want to tighten stuff like this down in a star pattern. All right, so our good old friend, the torque wrench. First of all, this is gonna spin on you. Put your e-brake on, this will hold it still while we torque down those lug nuts. Secondly, as far as torque spec goes, I expected it to be more. The F150 spec, so what we're gonna tighten our wheel to the spacer, is 150 foot-pounds, and that applies for everything 15 and newer as far as F150 goes. However, the instructions from Coyote state you should only torque these down to about 95, 100 foot-pounds. I'm gonna go for 100 just to be on the safe side here. And again, we're just gonna do this in a star pattern. So that's pretty much gonna be it as far as the install goes. A couple of things I do wanna touch on though here. You wanna drive for 500 miles, come back and make sure everything is still nice and tight. I'm sure some blue Loctite on there would not hurt either. Secondly, the studs on our F-150 do stick out beyond this spacer a little bit. Now I know for a fact the stock wheels do have cutouts on the mounting surface to accommodate for that. However, if you do plan on running some aftermarket wheels, they might not have those cutouts to accommodate for those studs sticking past the surface. And if that's the case for you, you can take this back off and just grind the tips off a little bit. You want to make sure this surface is nice and flat for your wheel to mount up to. But other than that, that is going to do it for my review and install of the Coyote 1.5-inch billet aluminum Hubcentric 6-lug wheel spacers fitting all 15 and newer F-150s. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe for more like this one, and as always, keep it right here at American Trucks for all things F-150.